Hey everybody, welcome to H&D Abroad. I'm Herman.
And I'm Dee. So we are in a new place, very happy place. We want to welcome everyone. Happy New Year.
Absolutely. Happy New Year.
Yeah, so we are talking 2024 money goals. We started this conversation uh, probably midway through December. So if you have the opportunity to catch up, I'll link the our first money moves conversation here, and then the second one where we were talking with uh, Aging Grateful. I'll link that video here. And I will also put it in the description. We wanted to have these money conversations because a lot of people are thinking, hey, how can I line up my today money to line up with the money I want to have tomorrow? So that is for us retirement money. That's the money that we are bringing forward for what we want to live on. And since we are only 50, that looks like another 9 years, 9.5 years till we can actually access the retirement savings through the traditional methods that we're going to talk about today. So we thought, hey, let's get in with our community. Let's start talking about what's available for planning your retirement money. Look at not necessarily the numbers, but what programs, products, services, mindset you need to have to get on that train track. Whether it's a few years for you or 20 or 30 years, because we're having that conversation with our kids.
It's been a busy new year already, and we are trying to really put a lot of emphasis and focus on as I say all the time, these studies, these conversations are really selfish. They're about us and what we're trying to learn and what we're trying to do. And our share part of that is including you in these conversations, because we think that not only, it's almost like the person who raises their hand in class, everybody gets a chance to learn. And we really, and at the same time, give you an opportunity to make some contact with the people that we are interacting with so that you can reach them later and have extended versions of these conversations. So that's kind of where we are. You do.
Yeah, I jumped forward before introducing ourselves, which I think I do just about every week. So we are H&D Abroad. Our channel is all about our move abroad journey, which our goal is to move in 2024. And so that process is from a couple's perspective, where we are saying moving abroad can be a plan A for creating generational wealth and for living a healthier lifestyle. So it is our goal to have you do 3 things.
First, before we get any further in this conversation, move your mouse and hit the like button. That's an easy process. There should be at least 10 likes right now. Then subscribe to our channel if you haven't subscribed already, if you're new to our channel, if you're watching this video later. And make sure you share this with other people, not because just for us, but because we want there to be this information to be available to all people. And the more information gets out, the more we can all collectively make better decisions, hopefully. And that's why we want to share this information. So like, share, subscribe, and what's the last thing?
Hit the notification bell so you know when we go live. We're going to be going live several times this week. There'll be new videos uploaded this week because money is what a lot of us are thinking about. I want to say congratulations to Sabangale, who is about to enter her next phase, entering retirement. So we're really glad to see her, melanated man. Welcome, welcome. Thank you. Word up psychotherapy for that super chat as
Thank
we
you very
start
much.
things.
Hey, Tanya, it's good to see you. Tell your husband to come on, sit down next to you, and open up his chair, his system too, so we can say hello to him. Greta, my girl, good to see you. I'm glad you're here. Dee Walker, hey, good to see you. Black women build wealth. L, you got a whole lot of title. It's good to see you, L. Our family, Agent Grateful, good to see you. Kimmy Apple, good to see you all.
Absolutely.
Welcome for being here.
Welcome.
And
so our community is deep. The Exodus Summit community is deep. And this sister we didn't talked about other things, but I was like, let's bring you in for the money conversation. So I want to introduce you all to Dee. She's in a beautiful place that a lot of our friends and new family have moved to. So I'm going to have her introduce herself and her channel to you, because like this, we're learning, but she is actually in this for the expert advisory level that we don't have. So we thought we'd bring in expertise. So let's go.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. So I just want to be clear. I don't know about expert. I may have a little more knowledge, but I don't know about expert. I can help some folks out, right? I am Dee Watkins. My YouTube channel is Brown Girls Invest Too. They are correct. I am actually in San Miguel de Allende right now. I've only been here for a little less than 2 weeks right now. I moved from Guadalajara. I moved from Atlanta, all these type things, right? I have I've exited, right? There's a good chance that I got my foot back and forth, but I don't know about going back for good. But this is it's a good life so far, and I think I'm gonna continue on with how things are going right now.
Absolutely.
Thank you guys for having me, by the way. And I do want to say something. I think I am live on my channel as well. I cannot see any of the comments. So if any of my people have joined, thank you guys. I really appreciate it. I'll try and shout you out later on if I can figure out how to do it.
We're on a continual learning process here.
Yes, absolutely. Sure. Absolutely.
So I thought I would start off with the conversation that Dee and I had when I approached her was, look, we make good money, and where should we be putting it? And right now we have traditional jobs that have the 401k. I've had a 403b before. But if I'm getting ready to be a freelancer or, really sit in the entrepreneurial space, what other vehicles could one or both of us take advantage of, leverage to continue this savings pattern? And then as I was looking, I was like, oh, they didn't release some new stuff for 2024 and 2025. So why don't we have this opportunity to talk about it? Because in the move abroad space, you can still, as long as you maintain your U.S. citizenship, the IRS has created some opportunities, right?
Yes.
For us to continue to sock that money away for the future.
Yes, for sure. Before we get into the actual vehicles, like the plans, right? I think there's other things that we should talk about first.
Okay.
So you guys mentioned that you're either 50 or you're about to be 50.
We just turned 50.
I am not sure what your larger audience, what the demographics are, but I will say this: let me say one other thing first. I used to work with a lot of men. Okay. And so I worked with men that did not look like me either, right? So I have a very direct speaking style. If I say anything in here that sounds like I'm being harsh, I promise you I'm saying it all in love. And it's just how I get my point across. So I just want to be clear with that first. So going back to the demographic, if they're the larger audience here is just starting to invest, this is a different conversation, right? Younger folks have an advantage and they have time. There's a larger time horizon for your money to grow, right? And there are also, the other advantage is they have time to mess up and fix it, right? So if you are at an age where you are just starting and you're in your late 40s, well, 40s, 50s and above, then that's a different type of investing that you have to do, because you have to weigh your risk, your risk tolerance. You have a shorter time horizon to grow your money. But you also have to make sure that you're preserving some of it. You need to put your foot on the gas, but you need to be careful doing it. So those are the things that I'll try and balance out as we go through this. If you're, again, at a time frame when you're kind of just starting, you have to do something first, and that is change your mindset. Because whatever prevented you from doing it back then, you got to change that, right? You have to figure out that you want your life to be different than it has been. You want to figure out how you want to live going forward, right? How you want to retire, if you're able to retire. And if that thing is important to you, then you got to change the way you're doing some things in your life. Okay. So when I say that, quite a lot of time people have not saved for various reasons. It could be maybe they didn't make enough money. Maybe they were afraid to do it. Maybe they thought they weren't going to make it to a certain point. They weren't worried about retirement. Well, now we're at that age where you have to, right? So now you've got to decide that pizza every weekend is not what I'm going to do. You've got to decide that going out with your friends every weekend is not going to work, or at least spending a ton of money to do that. That purse is not going to do it. Those shoes are not going to do it. Those things have to change. And once you do that, you've now recovered money that you can start redirecting toward your later years, toward your retirement, or any other financial goal that you may have. That's first.
And I wanted to give you an opportunity to share your story as we're beginning, because I think part of what our journey looked like is I worked in nonprofit. And so they were saying this is, these retirement savings vehicles are available to you, but there's no match. Well, I'm in my 20s. It doesn't really, I was just like, I can park my money in a savings account versus putting it over here. And so there wasn't a lot of knowledge.
Right.
And then it was fear. Like, I don't know what that is. And in some Christian circles, the stock market is parallel to gambling.
Oh, wow.
And so people are approaching this as, you put your money where it's safest. If I grew up with grandparents who that under the mattress was a real thing, because that was the safest place I can put my money. But as you know more, when you hear that I word, that inflation word, you begin to understand the money I have, these dollars that are in my hand today. We just got back from the grocery store. Yesterday's prices are not today's prices. Yeah, and so, some of this is growing in knowledge, growing in influence. Who is in your circle of influence? So as I begin to listen to things on your channel and so many others that are in this financial education space, that is also feeding into my confidence in being able to say, okay, so I know I got to do something. I've got some information on why I should take action and how I can take action.
Okay. I just figured out how to see my people. All right.
Amen. How did you start?
Them later, right? So again, let me start with the background, my background. It is important for you guys to understand that I did not come up with money. I didn't. It is a wonder right now that I will even eat oatmeal, right? My mother, I lost my father when I was very young, and my mother, single parent, worked a straight job for a while. Then she got injured where she couldn't do it, and she ended up doing kind of odd jobs for a while. So she did the best she could to educate us. That was the first thing. I worked for, do I want to do this? Yeah, I'll do it. I worked for AT&T for 30 years and 16 days, right? At the end of this month, I will have been retired for 5 years. I retired early. I didn't have the people in my background to kind of talk about investing or savings or anything like that. I actually got tricked by a union steward in my first position at AT&T. I was a 411 operator, and they started me out at $222 a week. That's no money, right? But that was at age 19, all right? So union steward comes over, she puts a card down on the thing. She says, sign it. What is it? Sign it. What is it? Sign it. Okay, I sign it. She said, you're in the 401k. I was only making $222 a week. I didn't want money taken out of my check because I didn't have much, right? But after a couple of times, I look at my thing and I went, oh, wow, yeah, got a little money in there. Okay, cool. Keep going. I look again. It starts growing. Now, I worked for a company that gave me a company match. I was, lucky in that way. I had a 401k. There was an 80% match. So off the rip, I got an 80% gain, right? Not to mention the gains that the company was going to make. I'll talk a little bit about that later. So that's how my money started to grow. Now, again, I started when I was young, so I've had a long time horizon to be able to do this. Once I started figuring out that my money was growing, now I'm interested. How is it growing? Why is it growing? So I start doing my outside research, and then I get involved outside of my retirement plan at work. I start buying mutual funds at that time and started anything I could find, anything I could read, anybody on TV. I'm looking at it, studying all that kind of stuff. And I started to branch out. As you start to branch out in your learning of anything, you're going to find out there's more ways to do those things, right? And so and by the way, the more money you have, you're going to find out there's more ways to make money with your money, right? And coming from a background where I did not have money, that I have a fear right now. Don't say that. I'm gonna say it. I don't ever want to be back in that situation again. So I make sure I do everything to avoid that, right? So, all right, I'm investing within my company's plan. I'm investing outside of it. I get my first apartment when I'm 24 years old, and then some people keep coming to me every month and they want me to pay them, and I don't like that either. So I decide to buy me a property the following year. Real estate is actually what did it for me for the most part. I bought a few properties, and before there was even a house hacking, that's what I was doing, right? So all of those things, catapulted me, made me go further in learning different ways to grow my money. That's where I am today. But again, I didn't start with the money. I started with the knowledge, right? And that's how you can do it. And it doesn't matter if you're 19 or 25 at the time. It can be right now. It could be when you're 40. It could be when you're 50. But you've got to be diligent about deciding those are the things you want for your life, okay? You mentioned a few things. You mentioned fear and some folks thinking that it was gambling, right? I'm going to tell you the gamble is not investing because of the word inflation, right? So
Absolutely.
if you guys have noticed in the last 2 years,
Hit hard.
yeah, hard. In the last 2 years, and especially last year, we've been combating inflation. So what happened with companies is companies overhired. I'm talking about
Mhm.
what's going on now. Companies overhired, and to overhire, they paid people inflated wages. Okay,
Mhm.
so you've got inflated wages, and then you've got material costs that are going up, right? So now, when you are paying more in wages, you're paying more in material costs. You cannot. I get distracted, so I got to try not to look at stuff.
Okay.
So when you have inflated costs like that, now your profit margin is shrinking. When companies' profit margins shrink, they figure out a way to recover that money. And how would they do that? By cutting headcount. So if you guys notice, there's a lot of companies laying off right now, and it's because of the two things I mentioned. Fear. Okay, the fear is warranted. So in years past, we would put our money into banking systems, into things, and our money would come up missing, or we wouldn't have access to it, or they wouldn't pay us out what we were supposed to be paid. That is over with. Okay. Um, for the most part, there's still
I
other
was
ways.
I was gonna say you
For the
still
most
gotta
part,
watch that what is it, is it 250,000 that's protected by the, oh goodness. I'll get that right. But yeah, I mean
for a sale of a house.
no. When you're
Oh,
in the bank. Yeah.
FDIC.
FDIC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So fear. Yes, that happened. It in some ways it still happens now, right? We can't sell our house for the same price that somebody else may get for theirs. Anyway, but the difference, the new equalizer for us, back in, and by the way, I'm in my 50s. I'm almost mid 50s. I'm 54. All right. So back in the day, they tell me and my age group of folks to study hard and work really hard, and you'll move up and educate yourself and go get every degree you can get so that you can get the best job. That is not the equalizer. Education in that way is not the equalizer. Having your money right is the equalizer. Okay. If you go to buy a car, once you walk in there, those people are going to talk to you kind of nasty, right? Until they look at your credit score, right? And then now they want to give you 12 cars. No, I'm not buying from you, by the way. That's because you had your money right. When you go to buy a house, well, you can have this little one. I don't want that little one. I want that one. They are going to talk nasty to you until they look at your money. Get your money right, period. It's unfortunate that the people that have the least amount of money they don't get the breaks. It's the people with the most money, right? So that's why it's important to keep your credit right, to have the savings, to have those things where you're not dependent on somebody making a decision whether you can have something or not. I'm gonna tell you who say I can have it. My bank account say I can have it. My attitude says I can have it. That's the end of that. Now go get it for me. I'm done. Okay.
And I want to make sure that we are reaching all levels of understanding. Tell me what the difference is between saving and investing, because I think a lot of the fear is in that factor. Saving is something that we're trained to do. You have a savings account, you have a checking account. Some people save, some people don't, but to have a savings account potentially. Investing is another process,
Right.
and it incites my money is doing things without my control. How do you define, for people who may be trying to make that decision, the difference between saving and the benefits between saving and investing?
Okay. First thing is, you are never going to save your way to retirement. You're not going to save your way to being rich. You're not going to do it. And the reason is because in savings, you get interest, right? That's a form of passive income. And so if you don't have your money in the right savings account, you're not even maximizing your, the growth that you could have. So if you're in the bigger banks, if you're in a Bank of America, a Chase, if you're in Citibank, what's the one on? Anyway, those type banks, the really big ones, if you're in a savings account, those are the wrong savings accounts. And by the way, if you're in the military, the wrong savings accounts are Navy Federal and things like that. Because if you look, they give you 0.01% on your money. 0.01%. But if you get into a high yield savings account, you can have as much as, I haven't looked lately, but you can have between, say, is that loud? Was that loud? Okay.
No.
In between, say, 4.5% to 5% interest, right? So do you want 0.01% or you want somebody to give you 4.5% to 5%? Take the larger amount. That's with saving. Okay. Now,
it's truly liquid.
Exactly. You can go grab it when you're ready. Now, the other thing is you got to bring inflation in there again. So if you're saving and you're getting 0.01%, the rate of inflation is generally between 2.5% to 3%. So that's a negative saving rate. Okay. Now let's move to investing. When you invest your money, you're talking about the potential of a company. That's what you're going on, potential and probabilities. Okay. And so investing on average is between 8 to 10% yearly, right? Sometimes you'll see people go 8 to 12, right? So let's go with 10%. So again, if we're talking about saving, you can have that 0.01%, or you can have that I'm gonna give you 5. You can have that 5%, right? Or you can have that 10%. Which one you want to do? Not which one, but you need a savings. You need that, period.
Absolutely.
You need to be able to grab that to get yourself out of emergencies. But you have to invest your money for your money to grow and outpace inflation and to outpace the ability that you have to generate money. We've got a finite amount of time. If you're a 9-to-5 worker, you got 9 to 5 to make that money for yourself. If you're a freelancer, you got to do something to generate money. You're trading your time for money, either way it goes. However, if you are investing, while I'm sitting here talking to you right now, somebody is about to pay me. Somebody is about to pay you if you're investing in something. Now, you talk about, well, I don't know what to invest in, or I'm scared to do it. Look around your house. You're already investing. There are companies that are as old as the 1800s. If you go around your house and start looking at the backs of things, you're gonna, and I do this all the time, but I do it so that you guys understand that those are actual investments. I'm in Mexico right now. Anyway, so if I go and grab something in your bathroom, it's probably gonna be Procter & Gamble or Unilever. Okay, there's only a few company conglomerates. When I say conglomerate, I mean that there's one company, and under that one company, they got 100 or 200 different brands under that company. Okay, so you invest in the things you use, invest in the things you know. Okay, I mentioned Procter & Gamble because there's so many products that you guys actually use every day. Every day. Those are consumer staple products that we need and you can't go without. Johnson & Johnson, that's another one. Okay. If you go to Home Depot, if you got an Apple phone, not just an Apple phone, I'm going to just talk about this in general terms. So I've got an Android, right? And I've got a Dell. Okay. Those are, you're either going to have a Mac or you're going to have a PC. That's it. And those are companies that are used by all of us. Okay. If you name any industry, those are the companies you need. Okay. If it's, I just bought a house, I got to fix something up. You go to Home Depot, you go to Lowe's. I want some coffee. You going to McDonald's, you going to Starbucks. I want a car. You going to Ford, you going to Tesla. Same, down the line, down the line. Those are the companies you want to invest in. Okay. And again, I'm going to go back to Procter & Gamble, and I'm going to go back to Johnson & Johnson. Those companies have been here since the 1800s.
Mm-hmm.
If they've been here since the 1800s, they ain't going nowhere. No time soon. Okay. Ford has had trouble, but they've survived, right? Those are the companies you want to invest in. They're the companies that you use. So there's no fear in investing in companies that have been here since you've been here, since your mama been here, since your grandmama been here. Those are the companies you invest in.
The research. Everybody starts at I don't know. Okay? Because you were born and you didn't know.
Right.
What helps you to know more is exposure, whether that is reading. I mean, YouTube University, for its advantages and disadvantages, is a way to learn. Getting familiar. I mean, even if you're just listening to the money section of a CNN, an MSNBC, a Yahoo Money, you are getting exposed to these terms so that when you encounter them, so you're talking about company track record. These are companies with a well-established track record for staying afloat. And so when you are looking in a Fidelity, a Vanguard, that's what you go to look for. What is their rate of return over time? I'm, as somebody in my 50s, I can't, I need to give a little bit for that risk, right? For these young companies that can grow, that will be the next Johnson & Johnson, the next iPhone. But my time horizon is short. So my portfolio will have fewer of those, but I need companies that have a track record. So as you are educating, or what is the approach you're taking within the community that you are developing around financial education? If you're new to this process, let's see. If you're new to this process, where do you suggest people start, whether they are young or they're starting in their 40s or 50s?
Okay, I am going to answer you. However, I just realized I've had my side with a completely blank screen, and I want to rectify that for them. So I'm hoping that they can now see me over there.
Okay.
And if you cannot see me over there, I actually just, that was the wrong thing to do. Can you go to H&D Abroad? If you cannot see my live stream, go to H&D Abroad and you'll be able to see it there. Ignore the last thing that I just put and try and join us over there. So I am sorry. Now, going back to your question, you cannot buy all companies. Well, you can if you had enough money.
Absolutely.
You can if you had enough money, right? I invest in individual companies, but I also invest in funds. And so if you are an older person, or it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're older or not. The way to be able to have access and exposure to more companies is to buy funds. You buy index funds, you buy exchange traded funds. Those funds have all of those companies in it. So you get exposure to an Apple, a Microsoft, a Home Depot, all of those things without the expense of buying each of those companies individually.
Yeah, one of the resources that I use when I'm listening to, let's see, so I listen to Marketplace on NPR with a pen and paper. I may not understand all the terms that they're using. So I'm writing down, okay, this is a new vocabulary word for me. And then I go to Investopedia. Investopedia will break down what it means and give you enough information to, and then can click on other terms that you might encounter. So I think Investopedia has proven itself to me to at least help me to understand what I'm hearing if I'm watching the news or listening to these money channels or listening to a money podcast. And I've never encountered that word or that term like you're talking about ETFs or mutual funds. I don't know what those are. I need to go to a source that gives it's the encyclopedia for investing.
Absolutely.
So Investopedia, I think, is a good resource to start. Are there some other fundamental resources where people can just get just the basic information, go back to if they're encountering new terms, or where people can kind of start that baby step into the market?
Okay, so if you want to, Yahoo Finance is a good source for being able to look at companies, look at what they do, all that type of thing. If you want the information about what those particular things are, I mentioned ETF, that's an exchange traded fund. By the way, you'll get some language here. I'm not going to give you all of the answers, but I'll give you the language for you to go ahead and do a little more research. It doesn't have to come from any one source. All you got to do is type this information into Google, period. That's it. It's going to bring you up many, many sources for you to be able to find out what those things are, what those things do, and the advantage to you getting involved with them. Investopedia is actually a really good source. There's things like Motley Fool. There's a ton, and I wasn't prepared to give you that information, but later I can actually send you a list of things that would help.
And we'll add them to the description in this video for sure.
Sure. Seeking Alpha is also another good source for providing that type of information. Again, there's a bunch of different sources, and it depends on what. Let's have good education. Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Yes, that's what I was getting ready to mention. Is if Fidelity has a series just for women, I attend every single one. And they've had during Black History Month, they've had Black people talking. I think last year it was, what's her name? The Budgetnista was their keynote speaker for that. So, yeah. I mean, you can get in at no charge to sign up for Fidelity and a Fidelity account, and then at no charge have access to their training resources. But you go live, so you can ask questions with Brown Girls Trades.
Absolutely.
Brown Girls Invest too.
Absolutely. The resources again are there. I'm glad she brought up that the larger brokerage houses are going to be your better bet at any age, because they are going to have the resources and the people in place to answer questions for you. They'll have webinars all the time set up, and it's not just onesie twosie. There's a deluge of things that you can go and learn what those things are, what those things do. Right? If you've got any questions, you pick up the phone and call. They're there to answer. There are some smaller brokerages that allow people to invest, but they don't have the resources to support the level of support that I would want. And I don't know that I want to name them, but if a company is allowing you to buy 1, 2, 3, that's not what you want, right? And by the way, the larger brokerages will allow you to buy things on your phone, but they have the resources and support behind it. Other companies, I'm gonna name them, okay, like Robinhood and like Webull to some degree. You want the larger brokerages, period. That's what you want, so that you can educate yourself along the way. And by the way, when you're in those larger brokerages, they have families of funds, right, to do the exact thing that you're going to want to have done. I really hope that I'm getting this on the other side, because I don't think I am at this point. I believe it's gone.
Oh no. Well,
No
let's see.
worries.
So I think another resource. Thank you, Minnie. Slow Travels. There is.
Some of the calculators already have it built in. As a matter of fact, most of them do. And they'll have a bunch of different variables for you to say if you're going to be regularly investing, if there's a one-time amount that you're putting in, there'll be a bunch of different variables for you to look at how your money could possibly grow and things that you actually will need to consider along the way.
Yep. So yeah, the retirement calculators. There are several. Let's see. I pulled one that we used. I'll add it to the description. But yeah, the retirement calculators can help you to see if you use a standard rate of return, you know, how long will it take for you to get to your money goal? They are all estimates, right?
Yes. Everything's going to be an estimate because things can happen, right?
Yeah.
You don't, you, you could have a pandemic, you could have a downturn in the market, you could have a war. So everything's going to be an estimate, right? As a matter of fact, speaking of an estimate, they're in the larger brokerage for firms. They will tell you your money will last you for 30 years. Your money will last you for 22. There's going to be a
Mhm.
shortfall. You're going to have an overflow, right? And so those are the type things that you want to get into your actual plan and start playing with, right? So that you can see, oh my goodness, annuities. Oh, annuities. I'm sorry, I see this question. What's your take on
Yeah.
annuities? Um, Annuities are a bad word to me, but I know that quite a few people have them. I know folks will try and sell you those things or put you in those things, but what an annuity is, it locks your money up very badly. And it'll take, remember, I told you, well, I didn't tell you, a mutual fund and index fund, index fund and ETF, those are baskets of stocks. Okay, that's what a fund is, right? An annuity is a bucket of funds, right? The problem with that is that you have overlap in concentration of what you're invested in, and you also have an overlap of fees. There's a lot of fees involved. There's a lot of funds that get locked up for a certain period of time, and there the surrender charges to get your money out make it not worth it to be in them. I hope that you're not saying that because you are in them and that someone possibly is asking you to put your money in one, because she is about to, I don't know if she's already retired or I know that she was about to retire. If
Mhm.
that is, someone is putting that as an option for you, I wouldn't do it. They're not, they don't provide the return that you could possibly have, and there are a lot of fees involved, and it will suck your money up if you're able to get to it. Sorry.
Yeah, I there are a lot of things that we have a great we have a great insurance provider who comes to us with lots of different products.
My apologies. I'm sorry. Can we try and, if we can try and get mine involved here, because I got people over here that can't see and they're not seeing any of this or hearing it.
Okay.
Can you possibly give me a hint to what I am doing wrong here?
Let's see. The only thing I know is for you to, when we entered the studio, we said you could simulcast. So
Hmm.
I'm not exactly sure
My
what's
goodness.
happening on
I'm
that
really
side.
sorry about this. For anyone that's on my side, on my channel, my apologies. I will make sure that their broadcast will get to my page so that you guys can get the information as well. My apologies.
100%.
All right. Okay, what question did you have? I'm sorry.
No. Let's see. I'm going back up.
Got a lot of comments.
Oh,
here.
investor.gov, I think is another. Is that what Greta was saying? Okay. Here? Okay. That's right. Dr. Donna.
Will you comment on employer 403B plans and insurance products, benefits, and drawbacks? Are fixed annuities the same as fixed? The same? Not sure.
Yes, I will. And be abroad. 1 second. Yes. So you mentioned. Oh, good. You kept it up for me. 403 plans and insurance products. 403B plans are generally for civil workers, for teachers, for I think, for civil. They are less regulated than 401k plans and 457. Yes. Okay. The problem, I'll say problem. 403B plans generally have a lot of insurance products within them. And so insurance products, and by the way, I don't believe insurance is an investment vehicle. Please don't argue with me. That's my thoughts.
That's what I was going to bring forward. Those cash. Yeah. And I feel like I run into a lot of Black people that have been sold those products. And that's why I wanted to bring it forward on this page is
quite a lot of Black and brown folks are often sold insurance products now because they're insurance products. An insurance product they'll guarantee you 7%. You remember I told you the average stock market return annually is 10%. Okay, now that's average. So there are funds that will do 15, 18, 22, 36%. So for those insurance products to guarantee you 5 to 7%, well, yeah, they can guarantee you. They're getting 22% off of it, and they're going to give you 5 to 6 to 7%. Because 403Bs are less regulated, they will have less resources. They have less products in those plans for you to diversify your money outside of those plans. I've always had a 401k. And I've even seen where a lot of 403Bs or some don't even match. So if you're contributing to those things and you're not getting the benefit of having or of being able to invest in other products, you're limiting yourself by what you have in that plan. You're limiting yourself. That plan is limiting you by the returns that those offerings have. And then the fees associated are just not, those fees eat away at your return. That's all I got on that. I'm sorry.
No. Good. That was really good because my experience with the 403B is you just put it over there. They're going to do what they're going to do with it. It was state government. And so you get how well that is doing. You can't influence it versus with the 401k, I could at least choose either through a target date fund, what mix I wanted. I had a whole lot more ability to be hands-on with, what products I was, choosing as a part of my investment mix. Another question. Thank you, Professor LCH. I'm likely a short timer. I've had traditional employer-run 401k and have been told convert to an IRA. It's non-taxable event. Is this always true when converting? a bad idea?
All right. So I think you're saying you're 2 to 4 years away from retirement, and you have a 401k right now. So when people leave their companies, um, I'm gonna say a few things. So you can leave your money within your company. I said you can.
Yeah.
I said you can. Okay. So I'm going to give you the example of my former company. Um, Two things. If your company in a 401k does a employer match, generally they're going to match you in company stock. So if that company stock is doing very well, that's great. But if your company stock is not doing so well, that's not good for you. Um, your company could go out of business, right? So that's why you want the safety of moving your money to another vehicle. And by the way, your 401k plan, only has a certain amount of options that you can invest in. And if they weren't good options to begin with, you don't want your money there. I'm not saying they are, but you'll have a larger pool to invest from if you take it over to an IRA. Now, you don't want them to you don't want to put it in your hand. That's when you do a rollover. Okay, you just do a 401k rollover to a traditional IRA. That's all you do, right? That doesn't touch your hand. The reason you don't want it touching your hand, and when I say hand, into your account, you don't want them to send the money to you, because if you do, you just took a distribution. And if you're not of age, if you're not at the right age, you're going to get a 10% penalty, right? You want to do a rollover directly into an IRA. Okay. And once you're over in that other fund, you will have access to a bunch of other different investment investment types, right? Mm-hmm. Investment options. Okay. So so now it is a non-taxable event if it don't touch your hand. If it touches your hand, you're going to get taxed and the penalty if you're not of age. Is this always true, or when is converting a bad idea? And by the way, some people actually forget. They again, I'm a dinosaur. I worked for my company for 30 years. A lot of now people work 2 years here, 2 years there, all this stuff. And then they forget I had a 401k at that company. It's been over there a long time, right?
And ain't growing, ain't doing
nothing. They forget they have money at a particular company. That happens often. Okay. Mm-hmm. So no, it's not. Is this always true? No, it is not always true that it is a taxable event as long as you don't let it touch your hand. And I don't think it's a bad idea.
And I learned that the hard way. When I was in my early mid-30s, I worked for a local county government, mm-hmm. and they had a major layoff, and we were laid off. Their entrance into the 401k plan was after the first year, but you were not vested until 10 years. I was only there 4 years. And so they did a match. I did up to the match because I had that level of information. I did not know to research that it was more than just this is here, it grows, somebody adds to it, and it becomes something. So because I wasn't vested when they laid us off, eventually they contacted me and said, you got money sitting over here. I did not know to turn it into something else. Okay. And on top of that, was in the middle of a bad financial place. So I took the money so that we could survive, not realizing that could have become something. So that's personal to me. And I mean, I have some things I'm working on now, and I'm in my education and learning process, but I knew not to make that mistake again. I've been in that situation again, and I made that mistake, but I have to move into the better investing part of the process, in the learning part of the process. Okay. That's personal. And because that was 14 years ago.
Yeah.
And what that little bit of money would have been doing now.
Yeah.
Vastly different from that fistful of dollars that kept the mortgage going then.
For our kids, and I'm talking to young people, that Herman just mentioned the word vested. In my industry, we're vesting. You're vested with your money immediately. You get your money back. Most of the companies in the manufacturing industry that I'm in are vesting in 3 years or less. So you're talking about, if you are thinking about moving companies, and they're doing these employer hopping because it gets them better salaries, better job opportunities, check your vesting. If you held on, and I've seen people who have lost out. I think Libria Jones talked about this being her story. She was like, I was just moving. I was moving for the money. But if I had just looked and stayed another 6 months, another 3 months, I could have vested and then rolled that money, gotten all of the match and the money that I had put in. So when you're thinking about your benefit package, look at that vesting. When do you vest? When you're looking at, it might be time for me to transition in my career. Have I passed that vesting point? Because I take that advantage with me, as you talked about, rolling it into an IRA, but always take it with you. I let mine sit just to see if it would grow. I lost 6 months waiting to see if it would do different. Always be in control of your money. Stay on top, just like Dee said about, if it's over there, you're not maintaining it. You're not, it's growing at whatever rate they are allowing it to grow. Be in control of your, being in control of your retirement savings and investing. Gotcha. Probably the last thing, Dee, that I want to make sure as we're talking about 401ks is something that I didn't realize until I was listening to conversations, and that is, some employers are opting you in, and you have to elect to opt out. The good companies are just opting you in. Sometimes you do have to opt into the 401k, that the pre-taxed money that will go from your payroll before it hits taxes into your 401k. But designating it and putting it into a 401k is only the first step.
Yeah, people will say, I'm investing in my 401k. Your 401k is just, that's the holder, that's the account. That's not what you're actually invested in. It's when you choose the things that you're going to hold within that account. That's when you're actually investing. I'm sorry. I've upset quite a lot of people here.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
Pardon me. I'm sorry. I'm almost done. Okay, there we go. Hit it. Go, please. Yes. Going back to what Herman said earlier, I'm sorry that happened to you and anyone else. I will give you the example, my example. Again, I retired from AT&T. If you knew anything about AT&T did fairly well while I worked for them. If I had left my money, my 401k, with AT&T providing me, again, a lot of the stock that they provided was company stock. Their stock is tanked. Okay, that's not, and again, as you get older, you have less of a time horizon to be able to make that money up. So you want to be able to make sure that the company that you're in, that you're not overly invested in it, and that you're not leaving it in a company that may be in trouble at the time or while you're about to retire, right? Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, people will tap their 401k along the way. Okay, thank you. Oh, God. Unfortunately, some people will tap their 401k and you're taking a penalty, and you have opportunity cost that's lost now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where you said you had that little bit of money, is going to could turn into a whole bunch of money, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you don't want to be pulling off of an account that is designed for you in your later years. Once you are actually you have a 401k, you have a traditional IRA, a Roth IRA, whatever. Once you get it in there, you need to find the things that are going to appreciate in value, right? You want capital appreciation. You want a growing fund. So with the tools that we've mentioned earlier and some tools that we'll provide later, you'll be able to find out this fund is, paying out or has gained 22% over a 3-year period. This company's done 12%. Do I want 22 or 112? Guess which one I want? I want the 22. Okay. So you want your money working as hard as it possibly can for you while you're sitting here talking, while you're sitting here listening, while you're sleeping. Your money needs to be making money for you. Mm-hmm. If you're working, review your benefits every open enrollment period. Yes. And I suggest that you don't wait till and I'm only saying 2 to 4 years because that's what the woman said earlier. You don't want to wait till you're 2 to 5 years out from retirement to say, let me look at my money. No, you review your money every quarter and see if you are performing the way you want to perform, and if that money is going to pay for the lifestyle that you want to live in retirement. Wealth building has a life cycle, right? It's like a bell curve. And so there is the base form is you're in protection mode, meaning you're just trying to make sure you have stable money coming in, that you have security with your money coming in. As you get up over there, 40 to 50s. Now, 40 to 50s, this is the, goodness, what is this phase? This is the accumulation phase, okay? That 40 to 50-year-old period, you're at your highest earning potential, okay? I'm going to stop there for a minute. If you are at your highest earning potential in your 40s to 50s and you're not doing well there, what are you going to do when you start going down the other side, when that is supposed to be your distribution of your wealth? Okay. So in the money-making time, in your accumulation phase, you need to be accumulating. Okay. And you can only do a certain amount of that, but you can send your money out to do some of it for you as well. So that's what you need to be doing for yourself.
You just spoke a whole word to me right there.
Come on now.
Because our young people are thinking, hey, this money is here today. And I'm saying, have your today money. We work hard. You work hard. You should have some of it, but have it make money babies. Have your money give you today and give to you tomorrow. When you take it off of the table, and as much as I appreciate some of the opportunities that I see or that are coming up, like you could take out $1,000 now, and I'm just like, but you're taking $1,000. Do you know what $1,000, when you take it off the table for a year, for 2 years, for 5 years, for 10 years, how little you think, how little it really shrinks in comparison to what it could have earned for you.
I want you to put some punctuation on what you just said. Just think about that $1,000. People say, oh, if you take $1,000, I want you to think about $1,000, and I want you to think about a company like Apple. The growth of Apple, the growth of Microsoft, the growth of Home Depot, that $1,000 can be $100,000 or more. That's the opportunity cost that you miss out on when you're pulling off of your money. I have a pension and combined with 403b. It's growing, but not fast enough. Should I transfer it over to another account? Okay, you're within that company. you've got to leave your money there while you're there. We were talking about when you leave your company.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean outside of your company you can't do some investing. You should. You should not just rely on your employee sponsored plan. And by the way, there's a lot of people that don't have, their employer doesn't provide one for them. So you need to be doing it outside of your company as well, right? Once you have your money outside of your company, you can do anything you want. There's some people, I don't think this is the case for a 403B. There's an option within a lot of 401ks that it's called brokerage link. And what's the percentage? I think you could take up to, you could take up to 50 or 60% of your money in that fund and put it in brokerage link. It's still within your company plan, but that would allow you to have more options that were in your 401k plan.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So again, if you have a 403b with your company, all right, but I want you to also take and have you something outside of your company.
Yep. So this is another good one. So when they put a Roth inside your 401k, can you talk about 401k and then how the advantage of having a Roth inside of your 401k? I don't think that they gave us a preference. I think that's just how they set it up. But
right.
Can you talk about, if you had the opportunity to choose?
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't have that level of education about a Roth within a 401k because that was never an option for me.
Okay.
I don't know that. And I don't want to speak on something that I don't know about. I just don't.
That's fair.
That's a trustworthy source,
y'all. One thing I will say for sure is that some people don't invest within their 401k. If your company offers a match, please invest in your 401k. You can do something outside of it. And when I say a match, remember I told you my company offered an 80% match. So if I lay down $1, they gave me 80 cents. That's free money. Thank you. You take all of that. All right. So if they do not offer a match, that is when I would opt to do something outside of my company, because if I'm not getting a match, there's no benefit to me because you've limited me in the amount of things I could choose in that plan.
If one is of age but not retired and takes money from a 401k to pay off credit cards, is that money income for tax purposes in addition to the tax taken off the top when money is dispersed?
You ready? Yep.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
All right. So
I want to talk about that whole thing though. So if you take money out of a 401k plan and if one is of age, okay, so you don't have the penalty. You don't have that's the 10% penalty. But you're still taking money that is for your retirement to pay off unsecured debt. Never a good idea for me. Never a good idea. Now, if you got a bunch of credit card debt, if it's I don't know. I think I'd have to look at that situation honestly, but I don't know that I would ever do that. It is a distribution, so it's income, right? Taking off the top when the money is dispersed. I wouldn't do it because of the opportunity cost, and that's for me to pay off unsecured debt. That's just me.
Got it.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah, you got.
Hold on. Got quite a few comments here. I'm trying to.
Thank you, Shisha, Evelyn, Sabongale, Shan. Thank you. I appreciate you. I'm just. That's right, Warren Buffett. That's my Uncle Buffy. If you don't find a way to make money, that's not, well, you've got to find a way to make money while you sleep, right? Otherwise, you'll work for the rest of your life. Another thing Uncle Buffy says, and he is my uncle, He says to, I want to get it right. He says to spend the money that you make after your investments. Don't invest the money that you have left from paying your bill. I got it wrong, but you don't you pay yourself first. Period. That's
okay.
That's what you said.
I want to massage that a little bit,
Okay.
because we talk about that in relationship to savings. Growing up, I thought savings was what you had left over. Like you spent all you wanted to spend, and if there was money left, that is your savings. But when you are putting your priorities in front of you, then yes, investing is intentional. It is going to come in balance with what you need to maintain your life. And so if my lifestyle is overcoming the priorities that I have for saving and investing, then I need to be working on my lifestyle. So the conversation we were having about shoes, clothes, travel, vehicles, things that are good, they are nice to have, but detract from the priorities and the goals that you have for your savings and for investing, then it's not really worth it. Because cars, when I have to say, my high school, I think it was 10th grade or 11th grade year, my teacher talked about how to open a savings account, how to buy a car. And literally he had a whole group of lessons that talked about, if you buy a brand new car, how much you lose when you drive it off the lot.
Yep.
If you drove your brand new car off the lot, paid for it, handed them the check, drove it off the lot, drove it back onto the lot, depending on the vehicle, you just lost $10,000-$20,000, because they are not even, I'm telling you, drove it off the lot, drove it right back on the lot. They won't give you what you just paid for it. So I want to invest in things that don't decline, that don't lose their value as quickly, especially as someone that's starting off. We thought buying a house, that's how you save your money. What I didn't know was a single family residence was not the key if we're talking about growing our money. And so when you're getting into YouTube University, when you're watching Dee, when you're watching Sandra from Lack to Legacy is on here, when you're watching these ladies and you're listening to them talk about money decisions and money opportunities, hear them. It's not just, there's a particular kind of housing that Dee is talking about that is an investment that is going to offset your money of today and bring you money into the future.
And again, I think what's important to state, I'm sorry, Dee, I think it was important to state is an understanding in the differences of terms and how to understand simple things. Like, we were told to get property. We estimated property to be a house. We did not estimate property to be land. There was nobody in my generational circle buying land. We moved a lot. So my father made sure we had a new to newer home. He built a couple of homes. This is a guy who grew up poor. He grew up in the projects. So the process of him buying and building homes was a big deal. So being able to buy my wife a house, being able to now build her a house, those are big projects for me. But I have no land. And when we went to try to find land, we couldn't find land because by the time we figured out, hey, there's some land available, the market shifted where we lived to the point where it was outside of my immediate reach. Is it outside of my goal? I'm still goaling for it because I understand now, because I want there to be. But I work in an area in the South. I do some part-time work that allows me to go far out into what is still called rural. And in those rural areas, there's still a land that is owned by people of color. But that land also, I don't see them developing it. I don't see them building houses for the family to grow on it. It's like, it's just sitting there. The house is rotting on it. And it just stays there until somebody comes, literally, until somebody comes and says, we'll offer you enough money to take it off your hands, because kids far enough down the road don't want it anymore. Where I come in contact with, to be perfectly blunt, white families who've had land for 20 years and they're just now building on it, and they'll build 6 houses and 8 families live there. It's a matter of understanding what that process is and where we invest in it. We need to begin to understand bigger than what's just in front of us. I don't know if I can explain that better.
I've got 2 thoughts on real estate. So I told you I bought my first property. I bought my first property when I was 25. All right. It wasn't a house though, right? I'm from the Midwest. And I bought what is called a 2-flat. A 2-flat for me, the one that I had, is a basement, first floor, second floor. Okay. I lived in one unit. I was blessed enough to be able to take care of my mother on another unit. And them good people upstairs paid for the building. Thank you. Right. That freed up my money that I was getting from my company for me to invest. Right. So then I bought another building just like that. That's a great way to make your money, to build your wealth. Okay. But let me say one other thing about homes. Some people are against people buying homes now. I am not necessarily against it. The reason I'm not is because when you own a single family home, you have a mortgage. A mortgage can be paid down or off. That's debt. That can be paid down or off. Okay. So as you're paying your mortgage down, you're growing, you're aging, right? As you're aging, and remember that life cycle, right? You have less, your income earning potential is going down. So if you pay your house off, you at least have a place to stay. You got to pay your water bill, you got to take care of your utilities, and you pay your taxes if you done paid your house, if you're free and clear and you done paid your house off. If you are renting, okay, I'm gonna go back to a mortgage is a debt. Rent is an expense. You cannot pay an expense off. Expenses are ongoing, right? And expenses are going to go up because taxes are going to go up, water bills are going to go up. So I'm going to charge you more to rent because I'm not paying for it. You got to pay for it. I need to be able to cover the cost of my property that you're renting. Mm-hmm. So I would say, no one owns property in my. Okay, you make it happen then. Word up, make it happen. So I am not against owning a home. It would be a better idea. Them good people pay for me and my family. I appreciate all my renters. Thank you. I love y'all. I really do. Right? Because them people pay my mortgage off and they gave me some spending money. They gave me some pocket change. I appreciate them for that. But if you cannot do that, consider if you're going to have enough money in your life ongoing to be able to pay an expense for the rest of your life, where your landlord, somebody like me, can say, it's time for your rent to go up. And I'm going to raise it again next year. And I'm going to raise it again next year. So consider that. It's not always a bad idea to own a home. That's just me. Now, I'm done.
Let's see. Sabangale had one more question about once retired, is it a good idea to pay off your mortgage out of your 401k? That's subjective to the person. You know, what I pay, do I want a free and clear house? You got to decide. You want to stay there forever? Right? So are you going to, and by the way, this is H&D abroad. Some of these people, they're leaving. They're going to other countries. And by the way, for all the people that
are in the US and have not even thought of that as an idea, consider it. Life is good. Food is better. People are nice. You know, lifestyle can be different for you. Anyway, so just consider that. Now, if you're not going to stay in that house, if that's not your forever home and you're going to stay there, then again, those are things you need to consider when you're deciding, do I want to be free and clear in this house? And if I pay this house off right now, am I going to be able to sell it? If you need to, okay? If you are upside, there's a lot of variables to that. Right. So again, that's something you have to consider for yourself. But the things that you need to consider is, are you going to stay there? Are you paying off your house in a market where your house is overvalued? Right? And what is the opportunity cost for the money that you just took out of your retirement account? And what was the potential for that money to do on that side? So again, all of those things need to be considered. I hope you guys know I'm not a financial planner, right?
Yeah. Hey, I was going to say we're providing this information for entertainment purposes, but for information.
But you understand that the conversation, and again, I'm being selfish here, because I've been quiet probably the majority of this conversation, because learning for me is a big deal. And so often to be able to have a chance to conversate, it's one thing to read it, it's one thing to listen to it. To be able to conversate with somebody and say, hey, take a look at these things. Hey, consider these things. You've just given me some things to sit down with that in the next few days I need to maximize on, that I have not maximized on. And I can be upfront about that, because I want the security of my wife and potentially my children, and that's a conversation for another day, and potentially my children to be something that is something within my understanding and control, and not just, I did it because somebody said it's a good idea. And I think that's how many of us end up in 401ks and don't maximize them. We know it's a good idea. There's some money sitting over there. We completely forget about it, like you said. And then we got 401k, open all over the place that we never come back and take advantage of, because we don't understand what it's doing or could be doing for us. Mm-hmm. You have, Dee, thank you.
I was going to say, you just blew the doors off several different options, because Sabangale's question is a core. If y'all have followed us on this channel, we have talked about what are we going to do with our house for for several episodes. Should we keep it? Should we, keep it and let our son live there? Should we sell it? Should we rent it? Should we Airbnb it? Should I leverage the opportunity for someone else to help me pay down the mortgage while I decide? Or do I want, as I said last week, do I just want peace? Sandra is talking about, I want a retirement with no responsibilities. If those videos of people and what they do in these short-term or mid-term rental properties doesn't scare you, you're not watching enough of them to really understand, what are you leveraging? This house, this physical building is an asset for me. Is it the asset that I want? Could I be doing something? I need that money that's available to me to continue to grow. That's in a 401k. Do I want to take that growth money out, pay it off, and then what? So, like you said, you've got, what I want people to hear is opportunities. You are not in a box. You are not too late. It is never too late. We've mentioned 401ks and 403bs. Those are things that are connected to employers. Accept is if you are a private business owner and you have, that is designated by the IRS as a way for you to save for your retirement. And I keep saying, as much as I want to retire, if I'm making money and I know I'm going to go ahead and be filing taxes, why not have a business so that I continue to have a vehicle that lowers my cost my adjusted gross income and can grow. I'm just like, man, give me all the options. Give me all the options.
Good night, Sandra.
I was about to say she's 13. She's 13 time zones ahead of us.
She's been trying to leave for a minute. Good night, fam.
She holding on.
Go ahead, let her answer that question. You
Yes.
said you had a comment about the house situation.
Oh, I know what it was. Selling your home. I mean, so again, for people that are not, and I'm saying for people that don't know this, H&D abroad, their goal is to move out of the country. So some people decide they're going to move out of the country. Now, what if you go and find out you hate it, or it doesn't work out, or financially you can't afford to stay gone and you need to come back? Part of the reason I haven't sold our primary home is because I want to buy it back. I bought it in this market. I bought it down here. If I come back, I'm not going to buy it up here. I'm not doing that. Right? So in the meantime, somebody else could be paying for it. If I decide later, all right, I'm never coming back, then I'll sell it. Well, hopefully the thing has continued to appreciate. My first place, I sold 2 years ago. It was in a gentrified neighborhood, right? If I sold that thing 2 years ago, if I cannot go back and buy it right now. I cannot buy in the area because I can afford it. I don't want to pay that much money. Mm-hmm. I don't want to. So again, those are things that need to be considered when you're talking about property. I've made my money through real estate and paper assets, right? So I'm diversified in that way, but you cannot just say, I'm sorry, if it were me, there's more things that you need to consider when you're saying, all right, I'm done with this house. All right, you better be done with this house and that neighborhood and that price point as well.
And that interest rate, if you were able to lock it in low.
Exactly.
Couple of things I want to make sure. Let's see. So there's a age 50 advantage. So I said we were going to talk about catch up if we had an opportunity. So that catch up contribution.
Yeah. And listen, the law changed this year. I'm going to have to look over here because I don't want to get this wrong. Here we go, right here. I got a couple things that we haven't talked about. So there's a lot of things that have happened this year. You mentioned earlier, one of the things that changed is companies more and more will be required to put you in your 401k. So you're going to be doing it whether you want to or not. It's a good thing, actually. Now, the 401k, all of these plans, the onus has been put on you to do your own investing, to invest for your own retirement. I'm gonna go to those things. Again, I'm a dinosaur. I had a pension with my company as well as a 401k. The employees of today, their pensions, they're not very many pensions. A pension was where your company was required to put away money for your retirement and give you a gold watch when you retire. Okay. Now the onus is on you to save for your own retirement. And if you're not doing it, then what? And if there's a chance that Social Security will not be able to pay out at the same level that it has been paying, then what? Right? So you've got to take advantage of the plans that are available for you or the options that are available for you. And so if that's not an employer-sponsored plan like a 401k or 403b, then you move on. There is a traditional IRA. There's a Roth IRA. If you are an entrepreneur or a freelancer, there's a SEP IRA. There's a solo 401k. There's all simplified, right? Simple IRA. All of these different things that are available to you. She mentioned catch-up funds. So that is for and again, I'm going to have to refer to here. I don't want to screw it up. A 401k, the contribution limit is $23,000 now in 2024. It only went up $500, but it still went up. And if you are over 50, you can contribute an additional $7,000 in catch-up funds. for the traditional IRA. Now, people get this confused with a Roth and a traditional IRA. You can put away $7,000 as the standard, savings. If you are over 50, you can put an additional $1,000 in catch-up funds. So if you're 50, you can do $8,000. All right. Again, that went up by $500. If you have a simplified employee pension, that's a SEP IRA. That's designed for small business owners and self-employed employees. And I'm not going through all that. Anyway, you can do generally 25% of your salary with a maximum limit of $69,000. It used to be $66,000 last year. That is the same thing for a solo 401k. You can do, the limits are $69,000 with $7,500 being catch-up funds. So that's a total of $76,500. A simple IRA is not simple. There are a lot of rules, and I'm not going through. Okay, so again, I'm giving you the language, and it is something that you can look into yourself. But I'll tell you, basically, it is a plan designed for small businesses with 100 or fewer employees. Okay. All right. Now, you can also use, this is not really a retirement account, but you can use it as one. HSA. Okay. Your health savings.
Hallelujah. You better preach. Let me tell you, because I keep telling people, don't be using your HSA to pay your copay. That's what they tell you. I was like, but use it because you can attach it. You can buy you can fund an ETF with those funds. And within my HSA, and I hate to jump into what you're sharing.
Yeah.
If you are not doing that wellness benefit, some companies is $500, some is $1,000, some is $2,500. Get that money, put it in your HSA, and grow that baby. Grow. That's the money, baby. Those are the monies. Those are the dollars that will create money babies, as Money Coach Malika talks about. So I was just like, y'all don't know about HSAs. You better tell them, Dee.
Tell them, girl. Tell them. And if you don't do, after all of those things, if you've reached some of those limits, right, and you still got extra money, and I'm saying that people have extra money, y'all, right? So if you funded your 401k to the max, you've done your Roth, you've done all these different things, you can also just have a regular taxable brokerage account, right?
Yep.
Again, it's taxable. The benefit to the other is that most of those are tax deferred. And I say most because those are the Roth is the one that is pre-taxed, right? The others are designed for you to pay taxes in your later years when they used to think taxes you would be in a lower tax bracket. But it depends on what your country is having to pay for. Oh my goodness, I'm sorry. I also have to mention this. We're talking a lot about things that are available to people in the US. But if you are leaving the U.S., or if we've got other people that are not in the U.S. that listen to us, right? So, oh my goodness, hang in there with me. Where are you at? In other countries, there are options available to them as well. Here we go. So if you are in the UK, there is a SIP or pension, right? SIPP. There's also their IRA equivalent is an individual savings account, right? And then if you're in Canada, there's the RRSP, that's a registered retirement savings plan. And they also have a tax-free savings account. If you are in Australia, they have the superannuation plan. So again, I'm giving you the language. And if those are areas that you're going to, you go the step further to do the forward work and find out what you need to do to be involved in those plans. One other thing you need to do is make sure they're going to be available to international investors. Okay. Now, again, You guys are HD abroad. And we talking about selling houses and all this kind of stuff. Before you leave the U.S., you better figure out where you want to be invested. Okay, because if you do not, if I'm gonna say the larger brokerage accounts larger brokerage companies, only because that's what I'm suggesting. I'm real sure the other ones don't do it. But if you leave, I'm real sure the other ones, forget the other ones. If one of those companies, when I say those companies, I'm talking about Fidelity, Vanguard, Schwab, T. Rowe Price, those are the bigger ones. If they find out you are no longer in the US, they will liquidate your account. Okay. And you don't want somebody liquidating your 401k account while you're 53, because that's your penalty, right? That's a penalty tax. You got your distribution, even though you didn't ask for it before you were of age. So consider that before you leave. So what you could do is make sure you keep an address that is in the U.S. and a bank account that's in the U.S. Otherwise, you will not have access to those accounts or those accounts. All right. I don't know anything about the other ones. Again, if you're in another country, that's some work for you to go and do. Now you have the language to go and figure those things out.
There's a really good question here from Poetry. I want to bring forward. Can I take some of my investment from my pension 403b combo to put in an ETF or even an HSA? So
is it in service? Are you still working there? Or are you talking about after you leave?
That's a good follow-up question. An HSA is usually only available if you have a high deductible health insurance plan. So every company doesn't have access to an HSA, but you definitely want to find out.
The other thing I'm saying is she's talking about, I don't know what, I'm saying Poetry is mentioning a pension. Are you in service? Are you still at that company? Because if you are, you can't say, give me my money, let me go. You can't do that.
Put it over there. Yep.
That's when you have additional monies to put other places. You don't just depend on what your company is providing for you. You invest outside of that as well.
So Tia is mentioning something that when you were talking about mindset. So investing is a mindset. I don't care if the market is down, which it hadn't been looking all that great the last week or so. Don't go in there looking like I'm telling y'all. I just looked recently. I am committed to contributing to this process, because a market that goes down is also a market that goes up. And so the mindset you have to have is that I'm putting my money in a vehicle that has the historical evidence of outpacing inflation. I don't need to be considering what it's doing day over day and week over week. It's easier to set it and forget it within a 401k, but a lot of people, but I have read about people that have individual investment accounts that will take it out. They try to time the market. I want to be in there till it's good. Then I'm going to take my money out. And then, or when I see the market going up, then I want to jump back in. So when we're talking about mindset, we're talking about a temperament for fluctuation, a temperament for something that goes down will come back up because of that historical evidence. Because if you were in here in 2020 and 2021, baby, you were holding on for dear life, because people lost a quarter of their portfolio. But guess what? It came back. It came back roaring. And timing the market can be harmful to the process that you're putting in place to position yourself for being prepared for retirement. But it's also why if your only savings vehicle is a 401k and it has those fluctuations and you're using the 4% rule, which is another vocabulary word we probably won't have time to talk about today, but you should have money in different places that can do different things for you. So if you need it, you have it, but you're not taking it away when it comes to these investment accounts when they are on the decline. You want to be able to tap into them when they are on the incline and continue to give you that a good return. Anything you want to say about that, Dee?
Yeah, Tia's comment. Listen, that didn't happen to your account. That happened overall. Okay. And let me tell you how you make where you make money. You don't make money in an up market. You make money in a down market. That's where it starts. So I don't remember what I saw. I think I saw positive 18 and negative 16%.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. So listen, we are actually, last year was bad for everybody, right? And we are in the recovery stage right now.
Mm-hmm.
But let me show you what the market does. And I don't care. You can look at you can look at most individual companies, or you can look at the market as a whole. And this is what you're going to see. You're going to, and by the way,
oh, and you're talking about what you're going to see when you're up close. When you're up close on the market, when you're looking at it by the quarter.
If you go to Yahoo Finance or somewhere and look at a chart of the market or an individual company, right? What you will see, and I'm doing, I hope I'm not in reverse doing this, but I'm gonna just tell you the way it goes. From the left side, you'll see that's how it goes. The market goes from left to right, right? So what happens is, and by the way, you saw I went up. I went up for a reason, okay? So the market, it stair steps its way up. You'll see it go up, it pulls back. It goes up, it pulls back. It goes up, it pulls back. Up, pull back. All right. That is not today. That is not for a year. That is period.
Time. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I said on average, the stock market returns between 8 to 12%. So we're going to go with 10. Okay. So on average, that's what it does. It pulls back, goes up, pulls back, goes up. All right. So when I told you that you make your money in down markets, when the pandemic hit March 2020, market went down. But guess what? There's something called dry powder. Dry powder is money on the side for opportunities just like that. That is how
the stock market is on sale. That's what I say in my mind. The stock market's on sale.
That's right.
The blue light,
as long as you're buying good companies, as long as you're buying good companies. So when that stuff pulls down, people will run in and buy at that point, because guess what? The stock market always does this. Always. You got to remember, more people are being born, more people are becoming, working. They're putting their money into the market. That's what's making it go up. Okay. Companies from the 1800s, companies from the 1800s have survived depressions, recessions, wars, pandemics, right? You want the good companies, not piece of crap companies. That's illegal.
Another good question from Garden for My Soul. How can you speak more about Schwab? What about liquidating my account if I leave the US? Woo.
More about why Schwab would liquidate. Because of the real reason is because of money laundering. They want to know if you're in a foreign country. Listen, we're thinking about it from the perspective of I live in this country and then I'm going to leave this country. So that if I was a national of that country and I decided to leave, what if money from outside of that country was coming into your country? You don't know why that international money is coming in. So to them, that's international money. They don't care if you used to live here, right? They want to know why international money is being invested in their companies. A whole bunch of bad things can happen when foreign entities invest in, I'm not just talking about the US, in any country's assets.
Mm-hmm.
I could take your market. I could take over your market. So they're going to limit the international money, because you're international at that point, coming into their country. That's the reason. They don't know the sources of that money either. Money laundering.
They and this isn't just companies saying, "Oh, we want to protect ourselves." No, the IRS is saying you must tell us. You must identify. So they are stewards of what. If somebody gonna come ask them, they're gonna come ask you first.
That's right. What are the investment limits if you invest in both the 401k and 7,000, 8,000 if you're over 50? I think she meant to say Roth IRA. I'm sorry. If you invest in both the 401k and IRA, those are two separate buckets. So again, if it is if it's your 401k, you can do 23,000 as a general, 23,000 as the standard contribution. But if you're over 50, you can do an additional $7,000. So that takes you to 30,000 in the 401k. But if it's an IRA, whether it's Roth or traditional, it's $7,000 combined. 7,000 if you're under 50, 8,000 if you're over 50 combined. People think I can do 7 and 7. No, you can't do that. Those are combined.
And my husband could have an IRA and max it out, and I can have an IRA and max it out. So if you're a couple, you can look at. And they're not asking, is that $7,000 coming from his salary? I can max out his with my salary.
Right. I said right.
Because IRA is outside of your employer. 401k is inside your employer.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, we're going to drop this one. Professor.
I bought and held individual shares. Uh-huh.
1 minute. Hold on. Bulls make money, bears make money, pigs get slaughtered. That's the term. All right. So I own individual companies as well. Where's the thought on taking some profit off the table? Okay, again, it depends on what your goals for that money was. When you invest something, and by the way, let me say something about investing that we should have said to begin with. Investing money, the money to be invested needs to be money you don't need, right? Because you could possibly lose it, right? It can't be that you're putting it in and I need it tomorrow. No, that's not an investment. You put that money in a savings account if you need to get to it, right? Money invested is supposed to be for midterm or long-term goals that you have. So what was that money allotted for? Was it for retirement? Was it for a car? Was it for a house? Whatever the case. Now, you're taking money off the table, but what did you put the money in there for? Did it reach the goals that you wanted that money to reach? And by the way, there's something else we didn't mention, and that's dividends, okay? So some companies, when they make profit, they will pay out. They can take the profit and put it back into the business. They can do research and development. They can, use it for products, whatever. They put it back into the business, or they can also take a portion of it and pay their shareholders. Okay. So now you're saying take some money off the table. You could take money off the table if it's reached your goal. That money was for a particular thing. Now, there's a difference between trading and investing. If you're taking money off the table, investing is more long-term. You can trade. Trading doesn't have to be day trading or swing trading. Trading can be, I bought a company and I'm going to hold this company for 5 years or whatever. Give me that back. Thank you. Or it's reached its peak And by the way, this also is related to timing the market. You want to take some off the table. Why? Because you think it's going to fall again, right?
Mm.
Oh, you also said something earlier. You said that a lot of people lost money in 2020. You didn't lose any money until you
Correct.
sell. You have not made any money or lost any money until you sell that asset. Period.
Thank you.
The value of it may have gone down, but you didn't lose any money. You
I still had the same amount of shares. They just were
exactly.
worth
It's not
a
worth
lower
it
amount.
they were worth at that other time. Okay.
Mhm.
So yeah. So if you're going, sometimes I will buy something, hold it for a period of time, and I may take some money off the table, which is what because you got a woman for your thing, is speaking of. Now you could take that money off the table and put it into another opportunity, another investment. If you have something that's underperforming, don't just underperform for an extended period of time. If it's underperforming, sometimes you may have to take a loss. Take the loss and put it in something that's going to give you better opportunity to make a better gain, more money on another side.
Mhm.
So, yeah, you're right. Bulls make money, bears make money, pigs get slaughtered. Sometimes you do want to take profit off the table. But I want to ask you this. If you owned Microsoft or Apple, or I ain't putting that in there, or some company like that, do you want to take money off the table? Because you remember, if some companies, if they're paying you dividends, they're giving you more shares they're giving you more money, and you could either take that money and buy more shares of that company. You could take some of that money and buy another company, or you can take that money and go spend it. That's opportunity cost, though, right? I am never selling Microsoft. Nope, I ain't doing it. Because them people send me a nice check every 3 months. Not selling Apple, not selling Home Depot, right? Again, you've got to decide what that money was for. If you've reached your goals, grab it. But that's dependent on every individual deciding what they needed to do for that money.
Wow, we're gonna begin to wrap it up too. We done held you here all afternoon.
Okay. And have my retirement check direct deposited into a Schwab account and leave. They know my source of fund. Okay, but in that case, you have kept a U.S. account,
Bank account.
a bank account. Remember, I'm saying you have got to keep some U.S. presence, right? That's what I mean. They won't just liquidate your account if I still have U.S. bank accounts. I still have U.S. phone numbers. They're not going to liquidate my account. But if you say I'm shutting down everything, well, they're going to shut down your retirement account too, or your investment account with them, right? Because you no longer have presence in that country. That's what I meant. I hope I made myself a little more clear.
This is my Professor LCH is on. We're on the same way. This is my closing statement for the day. Yeah,
no chaser. Yes,
I needed some head banging today. This was nailed to the head for me. Dee, I have got.
Can I say one thing? Can I say one thing?
Come on.
If you guys have not been convinced to start investing or be more diligent about your investing, I want you to think about what you're doing with your money. I want to know from you if the shoes that you buy, they cute, but are they going to take care of you later? If the purses that you buy, are they going to take care of you later? I'm not just going to pick on the women. If them Nikes you buying, are they going to take care of you later? Those are the things that you should be thinking about, about where you put your money. Your money should be making money for you, not to just make money, to take care of the things that you're going to need for yourself, you're going to need for your kids, you're going to need for your life, right? Tell it, Dee. I'm going to see them in a minute. I'm going to see you in a minute.
I promise. these money conversations are to be a mirror, to look at who you are, because we're getting ready to pound down this week. These next 7 days, we're going to be talking about money a couple of different times with some sisters that are just, I mean, you're going to be able to get a mirror. That was Dee. You're going to get, what can I see myself in the mirror on Thursday? And then next Saturday, we're going to, let's make sure the mirror is clear so that you can clearly see, who am I? Who am I looking at when I look at myself in the mirror? I am my past, I am my present, and I am my future. And I want to see reflected back at me. When I look at my decisions, I want them to reflect back what I value, what I want to see. Because, people are, when you're talking about your time horizon within your earning potential, if you're out here like me looking for work, they're not paying me the salary I'm currently making, unless I'm going to do 2 or 3 other people's jobs. Mm-hmm. It is a rough market out here. And so people should be looking at, if you are in your 40s and 50s and above, saying, if I don't have it together today, I need to start today. Today is the best time. Somebody said it. The best time to have planted a tree was 20 years ago. Today is your 20 years ago. That's okay. Right. So that's even right. If you're starting today, my mother is widowed. I'm trying to get her in the market because she want to hold on to the money she has. And I'm saying, you're buying at today's prices. They're not going to be the same prices tomorrow.
That's right.
We as a Black people, your flex is not your car, your clothes, your hair. We got to leverage something that gives back to us. I believe investing is how we can give back to us, how we can make up for the salary differential that I have as a woman and as a Black woman.
Yeah.
Within the educational difference, where I've shared, I put back money because I did the bachelor's and master's and doctorate work. And that money, that educational investment, when I gave that money back, it hurt. So we've got to find ways to leverage those dollars back. No. Hey, I got a house. We got empty rooms. Guess what we about to do?
Yeah, they ain't gonna be empty.
I'm about to pay my mortgage, baby, before I get out of here. I'm just saying, there are a lot of ways that what you can do better with what you have now. You can do better with the knowledge you have now. You can do better by increasing your friend group. Be around the people who are doing the things you want to do. Get in these DM, get on her channel. She is produced. Go binge watch what she has already produced. She is promising to go live more often.
I am.
And so as you set your 2024 financial goals, money goals, move abroad goals, retirement planning goals, go with confidence, go with knowledge, challenge yourself to do something different that's going to pay off today and into the future. Let's ride the wave. Let's ride the wave.
We were trained as a people to be in a box. We have to break the box, open the box, step outside the box. It can be disconcerting. It can be terrifying. It can be anxiety inducing, but risk builds growth. You didn't learn when somebody said, don't do this. You learn when you banged your head in the wall and did it anyway.
Or burned
Because you
yourself
remember from that
oven.
scar you got on your arm that you didn't have to have. You're going to find time. You're going to have some loss. You're going to have some failures. You're going to make some mistakes. But burning the skillet is how you make sure you make a good dish, because you know how to burn it the next time from walking away from it. Learn the process. I will be taking some risks. That is anxiety inducing. I am trained as a firstborn to be risk aversive, but I have to take the chance, and I'm asking you all to take the chance with me. Join these classes, join the lives that Dee has on Brown Girls Invest Too. Join Sandra on From Lack to Legacy. Get Greta to push forward into her lives.
Black women build wealth. I mean,
Black women build wealth.
Can you talk about your offerings, Dee, as well? Somebody's asking what else do you offer in relationship to the investing and financial education space?
So if you go to my YouTube channel, you can actually book time with me. I have a Calendly link there where you can, there's a course that's available. There's, you can book one-on-one time with me in half-hour to hour segments. And I'm actually going to do something this year. I'm going to open up a brokerage account and use that broker. And by the way, I'm going to put a small amount of money in it. I don't know if I'm going to do either 10 or 20 bucks every 2 weeks. I'm going to do it as if I'm working, right? So that people can do this, go along, do the same thing and see what I'm talking about. I'm publicly going to review this thing every month, or maybe every month, every quarter, something like that, just to show you the growth that you're missing out on, that those pairs of shoes could have been for you, right? Mm. And what happens at the end of the year, okay? Other than that, my channel is actually changing, and within a few days, my channel is going to change very drastically, and I'm excited about the changes. When you look at my videos, they're not great, but the information is good. But my video is about to be great. You hear me? Anyway, so go ahead and visit me over there.
Subscribe to Dee. Yes. Subscribe to H&D Abroad. We are moving from some talk about things to some do things. Uh-huh. We solicit your support because it changes the dynamic and the direction that we originally had for this channel. When we originally started this channel, it was strictly informational, and to a large degree, that is still our purpose. But in this growth of providing information and building community, we are afforded some opportunities to interact with you in some new ways. Some of you may have seen the post that I posted that's talking about our upcoming masterclass. We will provide more information about that. We're digging in on that. And those things are going to be challenges for us because we have to invest the time and we are putting ourselves in the risk zone. So we ask for your support as we continue to grow and learn. You see all these people in the chat who have YouTube channels. You, as a community channel, we're asking you to go in and subscribe to these channels, from Lack to Legacy. I don't care what Greta says. She's got a channel, Midlife Money Moves with Greta. We got people all up and down here, Aging Grateful. And of course, our guest today, Dee. Please subscribe to these channels. We are a growing community of people of color who are making some new choices and decisions about our lives. Whether you are moving abroad or not, we're not trying to force you to go anywhere. We're not trying to change your life. We're trying to help you improve the life that you want for yourself. We love you, and we'll see you in probably just a little while.
Absolutely.
We're H&D Abroad. I'm Herman, lovely Dee, and
thank you, Dee.
We'll see you soon. Thank you so much.
Dee, hold on with us just a minute.
Okay, will do. Thank you.